Hi there, this is Art and Such with my Rainbow Loom tutorial for Maurice from Madagascar. For this pattern you're going to need some light gray, dark gray, pink. I'm using this kind of skin tone pink here on the ears. And for the eyes you can use yellow bands. You can use white beads with a black permanent marker to draw the pupils on, or some yellow permanent marker to make the eyes yellow. You can also use pony beads. I'm going to be using a couple of small pale plastic yellow beads, and I'll be drawing the eye on the pupil on with a Sharpie. I'm also going to have on hand a piece of dental floss to thread my beads on, as they have rather small holes on them. Otherwise, grab a hook, a holding hook, and have your loom in the offset configuration, and C-clip, we should be good to go. So I did make the first arm and first leg separately. I'm going to show you how to make them on the loom and the hook, and well, together, and then I'll get you to pause to do the last part. So for the little toes here, fingers and toes, we're going to take a single light gray, go to the bottom of your loom and find the bottom 2 pegs, lay it on the second peg up from the bottom, twist it onto the next one, press it down a little, twist it again, and bring it back over. Now for some reason I was having, I'm not sure if it's because of the kind of band, but I was having a little trouble getting this to work, so I'm going to show you what was working for me, and if you have another method or another way to tweak it, feel free to. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to find this top band and go under the bottom band and bring the top one down under and over the peg. And then on the second peg from the bottom, I'm just going to take the bottom one and scoop it up and over the peg. And then you can put your hook through, up through the band on the bottommost peg and down through the band on the next one. You should get this little piece. And I'll also mention, if you want to have 5 fingers or 5 toes, you can certainly add an extra one, but I don't know if you need to, and I thought it might come out looking a little too chunky. So under, grab the top one and bring it back over, and under and over, that's 2, and I'm going to make a total of 4 of these really quickly. And to be honest, this is probably the hardest part in the whole project, so if this is working, then you're good. One more. Feel free to pause at any time if you need an extra minute on these. And if you want, you can make all 16 of these at the same time, although I'm thinking you might, like myself, prefer to do them a few at a time and then complete the limbs and go back for the next set. Okay, so once you have 4 into the hook, for the legs, we're going to take a doubled over single dark gray. I'll show you how to do that a little more slowly. Stretch, twist, back onto the same fingers. I'm just going to transfer it to my other hand and slide that through. You can move them over one at a time, or try to slide them all at once. Make sure we get all of them, and put the other end back on. And now this is for the legs, as I said. We're going to take 3 dark gray. And you can leave it at 2 if you're trying to conserve bands, but the 3 does make it nice and chunky. Put it on the end and pull through, and onto 3 more again. And at this point you can pause the video and make your second leg. Okay, it looks like I did an extra set on there. I did grab 1 extra set on this other foot for some reason. Now, when you've got your 2 feet together, you can take 2 dark gray bands and slide it through both of those legs and leave that on a holding hook. As you see here, I've got my one arm done, so I'll make the other arm with you. again, we're going to put it on that second peg from the bottom, twist it onto the next, twist it again, go under the bottom one, grab the top one and bring it over, take the bottom one and bring it straight over on that second peg from the bottom, up through the bottom, down through the next. Of course, by now you've done about 4 of these, you're probably got the hang, but we'll do a couple more together here. Need to be done anyways. I find this particular kind of band I'm using, it's a little bit thinner, so it springs together a touch more than I'd like, and that's why I'm having a hard time getting between the bands. But that's what I've got, and it works well enough. 2 more. Unfortunately, I've only got about 10 more minutes right now to work on this video project, and then I might have to put you on hold for a few hours, but I am hoping to finish this today. At any rate, you'll understand why the lighting might be a little different in the second half of the video. But we'll do our best. So once we've got our 4, this is for the arms, we're going to take a dark gray, twist, double it over, pull it through, replace, take another dark gray, double it over, pull through, replace, and last one, doubled over single dark gray, slide through, and from here we are going to take 3 sets of double dark gray bands. So take 2 together, pull it through, and 2 together, pull it through, and take 2 more bands, put them on the end, and slide. And I think I'm just going to leave this where it is for now, so pause the video please, and come back when you've got 2 arms and your 2 legs ready to go. We're going to get started on the loom now. And we're going to start with our dark gray, take 2 together, top center to the top right, 2 more from the top center to the top left. I will hold this up for you as we go along so you can see it. 2 down on each row, still with the dark, still using dark gray. And then we're going to switch to light gray and come down twice in the center from the second peg down to the third peg and the third to the fourth. And then we'll come down once on either side with double light gray bands. Actually, let me have a look at my... I think I revised this pattern. I did. So this is going to get a little bit thick here in a second, but we're going to put some more bands from the third to the fourth peg in the middle. What that's going to do is kind of thicken out this lower face area. So I have 2 there so far, and I'm going to add another 8, and there will be a total of 10. If that feels like too much, you can always do fewer. 6, 8, and 10. Works out nicely. I'm glad I remembered that so we didn't have to backtrack it later. Next we switch back to our dark gray, and we'll come down on either side with double bands. And then in the middle, 1 set of double dark gray bands. And 1 more set from the 4th side to the 5th center, and 1 more set of double dark gray from the 4th left to the 4th center. And we'll try to keep these layered nicely as best we can. Now for the nose, let me just make a really quick note. If you've got a black bead that you want to use, or even a black band, instead of wrapping a brown one, you can take a black bead and put it directly onto a light gray band and stretch that across where we're going to place this in a minute. Or you can stick with me and I wonder what I meant by that. Okay, I'm trying to read my notes here. So we're going to take, for the nose, dark gray, wrap 1, 2, 3 times, put it onto a doubled over single dark gray band, and slide it onto a pale gray, a light gray band. So as I said, if you've got a black bead you want to put onto that light gray band instead, you can do that. And this is going to go, let me sort of double check that for you, across from the third peg down to the third peg down. And we're actually going to pop it right over there. Now let's put on the eyes because I'm kind of trying to do this in order while I've got everything in front of me. So if you're using yellow bands, I'll show you really quickly what to do if you're using bands. That would be to take one yellow, wrap 1, 2, 3 times, and another yellow, wrap 1, 2, 3 times. If you want, you can put some black in there as well, but it will come out looking kind of bulky. And then slide both of those onto single light gray, and that would stretch from the second peg down to the second peg down like so. Okay, so that's one option. If you're using beads that have a larger hole, you can throw them right onto a hook and transfer them on. For beads with a smaller hole, we're going to grab this piece of floss, or you could use a thin wire or even a needle and thread. We run it through both of the beads. Oops. And then through a light gray, and then it will come back over, move it this way so you can see, back over and back through the beads from the opposite direction. I think I need a new piece of flossing, this one's starting to unravel. There's one. Bring the next one through. And pinch and slide until they are both on. And this will go onto the second pegs down on either side. Let's do our holding bands for the rest of the face, and then we can move on to the body. So single dark gray will go over the top side pegs and the second peg down in the middle. And we're going to put one dark gray band across the fourth pegs down on all the rows. So it'll make a triangle there. When we are ready to move on to the lower part of the body, we will have the ears to add on presently. We'll come back to that in just a minute, I think. So let's go light gray, 2 down from the 5th center to the 5th side. And everything we do towards one side, we're going to repeat on the other side. So 2 coming down to the side closest to you. And 1, 2, 3 sets of double gray bands in the middle. But let's start with the first set, and then we've got a quick thing to add right away. So 5th to the 6th in the middle. And then let me go back to my last picture here before we added our side chain. Double dark gray down either side. And actually, hold on. Take those off for a second. This is what we'll do. 2 light gray bands from the 5th side to the 6th center. That's what I did the first time around. Okay. And repeat. Opposite side. And then we can put down our double gray bands on either side. 5th to 6th. In the middle now we'll come down 3 more times with light gray bands, double light gray bands. 1, 2, and 3. Unfortunately, I've only got 5 minutes to go before I have to break, but we'll see if we can get a little more done. Another 3 sets of double dark gray down either side, so we'll have a total of 4. And let me put these on and then I'll hold this up for you again right away. I don't know how well you can see this at the flat angle, but it's awfully hard to put the bands on when it's up sideways. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. And then we're going to come up with, no we're not, we're going to take our legs now, which are on this hook. Just going to bring it over here. And take the band that has the legs on it, stretch it across from the 9th peg down on one side to the 9th peg down on the other. This is where we left off here. And you can bring that up over the middle, but yeah, that's right. Okay, you can bring that up over the middle there. I feel like we had one more, but I don't think we did. Okay, so get the hook between the legs. Take the top half and bring it over. Actually, you could do the bottom half as well. I feel like I had one more row there. Oh, we did. Yes, there is one more row. Okay, pop the legs off just for a second, and we're going to put double graze underneath there. So double graze under the legs. And then we should be set on that. And just to show you where we're at, we've got our ears to make, some holding bands to do, and a side extension. Okay, on the lower body, we're going to take single dark gray bands and lay them out as triangle bands across your 6th pegs down, 7th pegs down, so that's right below, 8th pegs and 9th pegs. You can do one over the feet. That one's kind of more optional. I think I'm going to leave that one off. Let's put our arms on into the 6 pegs down on either side, and you're going to try to place them so that they're kind of curling inwards. Oh, I almost forgot our tail. Maybe we'll do that next. I just have a minute, but we can do that pretty quickly. And then, like I said, I think I'll have to do a little break. Tail, we're doing dark gray bands. 2 bands, wrap 1, 2, or 3 times onto the hook. And this is going to go onto 9 sets of 3 bands. So 3 bands together. Oh, hold on, sorry, 7 sets, 6 or 7 sets, and then the last 2 will have 2 in them. I'll walk you through this. And if you want to only use 2 at a time, you can. So 2 bands wrapped onto 3, onto 3. This is the 2nd set of 3. Into a 3rd set of 3 bands, triple bands. 4 times 3, 5 times 3. Make sure those all go on. 6 groups of 3. And I'm going to do one more. And then I'm going to switch to doubles because this part is going to be a little more at the back, so you won't necessarily see it. It'll help conserve bands, and it'll also give it a little more movement there towards the back. So that's one, and I'll do a 2nd set of doubles, and this is actually going to go on to, I think I know which set, but let me double check that for you. Yeah. So just for a minute here, I'm going to take off the holding band that's right above the legs. And the tail is going to go on to the last set of double gray bands that we had in the middle. Bring that through and over, and put the tail down kind of out of the way to the side, and replace that holding band. Okay, I just have one more minute here, so maybe show you what we've got, and I will pause the video and continue this when I get home. Okay, sorry about that. I will see you soon enough. Okay, I'm back. Let's make some side chains for a side extension to make our little Maurice nice and rounded. We're going to take a single dark gray band, Wrap it on the hook once and twice. And this is going to go onto 4 sets of double dark gray bands. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, we're going to take this, and the part right at the bottom of the chain, if you give it a little tug, you'll see there are a couple of loops there, 3 altogether, and these are going to go onto the peg that has your leg on it, and you can pick which side it goes on first. The part that's on the hook we're going to stretch up and place over the arms. Press it down. Make sure we get them all. And we don't want this piece to stretch out to the side once it's on, so we need to kind of connect it. To do that, I'm going to take a little piece out of each link and bring it over the next peg down from the arm. Take a piece out of the next link of the chain. I'm trying to grab them from the inside, like the inner side here. Bring it over, and last one. You only need one from each piece, and we're going to make another identical chain for the other side. So let's grab a single, and they're all stuck together here. Wrap it once and twice. Pull it onto 4 sets of double bands. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Camera always like pulls to the side here. This is going to go onto the opposite side. In my case, it's the side that's closer to me. So I'll find the bottom of the chain, attach it on the peg that has the legs, bring up the bands that are on the hook onto, and put them onto the one that has the arms. Now, if it's easier for you, you can place on the top ones onto the arms and then stretch it down to where the legs are. It really will work out the same both ways. And connect each of the 3 chains below. And we're going to loop up the body, make the ears, add the ears in a couple of finishing touches, and we'll be pretty much good to go here. Okay, so we're going to go to the bottom of the loom and the middle, not the bottom of the loom, but the bottom of our figure where the bands are placed. Get the bands, 2 bands that are between the legs, grab them with your hook and pull them onto the peg above. Push back the, no, we don't have a holding band there. Okay, then just grab the next 2, bring them forward, push back the tail out of the way, get the next 2, hook them forward, and one more time, and stop when you get to the 6th peg from the top of the loom, because at this point we need to very carefully grab the top 2 light gray bands and bring them onto the right side where the arm is. It's getting a little full here, so push it down, and let's take the next 2 over to the left. Push those down a little bit, and we're going to leave that last set for the moment, but don't forget it when we come back to it. And we'll come back to the 9th peg down on the, I think it's the 9th peg, on the side closest to you. Take the open part of your hook and point it up, push back the top bands, and grab the bottom 2 loops and bring them onto the peg above. And we're going to be collecting the bottom set of double bands throughout this column here. Push back your holding bands, push back your extension pieces. Just take the bottom 2. You can use your fingers to pull them up to the side if it's hard to see. And when you get to that 5th peg from the top, we're going to have to reach through to grab the 2 bands that are coming to the middle 5th. So in this case, I'm going to pull them out to the side to see them a little better. Push the hook in, catch those, and carefully bring it over. Very carefully in my case, because these bands of mine like to break. Let's loop up on the opposite side. Bottom 2 bands. starting from under the leg or the foot leg piece and moving up forwards. Just watch that you're catching them all. And again, we're going to have to loop into the middle on that 5th peg down. So I'm going to pull my light gray bands to the side, reach in, change the angle here to get a better grip, and bring them up carefully and to the middle 5th. It's nice and tight there. And now we go to the 6th peg down in the middle where we stop looping up, and we're going to loop up once. And here, I guess I was wrong because this part is a little bit hard. There is one more kind of hard part here. And we will do that before we make the ears. So if we're looking here carefully, it looks like these 2 bands that are coming from the 4th peg down on the side closest to me here are on top of the other dark gray bands of these 3 sets. So those are the ones I'm going to have to get from under the light gray bands. We're going to have to do this very carefully, and it might take me a minute to find, so please take your time. If you get a hold of them quickly, you can move ahead. If you're not quite there yet, feel free to pause and take an extra minute. Not even sure if, oh yeah, that is the right color. That's 1. And this looks like 2. It looks a little bit lighter now that it's stretched out a little bit. Then we're going to have to reach back under the light gray and find the next 2 dark gray and bring them back over to the right. And just as a very minor side note here, the gray that I'm using on my loom here is a different kind of gray than the one I used on my original. So this one is kind of a jelly with glitter because that's all I had left. My other gray is out. I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. Go back through that same peg and loop the bottom 2 up and just have a quick little look. Make sure there's nothing else nothing else sticking there. You've got 2 loops here, 2 loops here, and 2 loops on top there. Then what we're going to do is loosen part of the bottom, part of the body. We don't want to take all of it off, and we don't want to take off anything above the 6th pegs down, but we can take the bottom part up a little bit. It'll relieve some of the tension on your loom, make it easier to pull this off after, and it'll give us some space to make our ears and for you to see what I'm doing here. Alright, for the ears, we are going to take a single light gray band, stretch it and double it over, and it's going to go, let's count here, 2, 3, 4 pegs up from the bottom, 2, 3, 4, I think that's right, and reach to the 3rd peg from the bottom. And we'll put another one on the opposite side in the same pegs. And in the middle we're going to have 1 doubled over single light gray band, and it's going to be on the same pegs. So this is what it looks like so far. And then we're going to switch to pink. Again, I would recommend a pale pink, and to that end I'm using the skin tone pink. I'm going to put double bands down in the center twice. So that's 2 bands together, not a doubled over band. And 1 set of double pinks on either side, starting where the gray ends. Let's see what this looks like in a minute. Like so. And I'm going to have 2 pink bands coming from the 2nd peg from the bottom on the one side to the bottommost peg on the center, and repeat for the opposite side. And we need a cap band and a couple holding bands. So cap band, take a single, one that's not too stretchy here, wrap it onto the bottom center peg 1, 2, 3 times. And we're going to take a couple of doubled over singles to make our securing bands here. So stretch, twist, double it over, bring it across. These are your third pegs down or up from the bottom. And we need one more right below that on the, this will be the second pegs down. And this ear is ready to loop, and then we've got one more to make. So reach your hook through the cap band and get the next two and bring them to the side closest to you. And we've got many bands of the same color, so bear with me here, it takes just a second. Go back in for the next two and bring them up into the right, the far side, and the last two, which I'm going to kind of wiggle free here to see better, will go straight up, and we're going to loop up the rest of the way on each of these three sets. Careful with your doubled over singles. Get your hook. We're going to remove this, but to do that, well, let me loosen off the bottom one first on each of the rows, and then I'm going to put my hook pointing downwards through the bands on the right, middle, top middle, and top left of the ones we did. Can give it a little adjustment here. And what we're going to do now, I'll ask you to take off your topmost holding band for a minute. You're going to take the two bands that are coming from the top side to the second side, take them off for a minute. You can take it off all the way if you need to, and put it on the end of your hook, slide it through your earpiece, and then we can replace it. And we're going to do the same thing for the other ear in just a second. So there's one ear on. We'll make the second one just a little bit faster. Singles onto the fourth and third pegs up from the bottom of the loom, doubled over. These are the light gray, and we're switching to our pink. Two sets of double bands down the middle. One set of double pink bands on either side. And two in towards the middle from either side. Let's get a cap band. So take a single that's not too stretched out. Those are stretched out, so I'll put them on the side there. This will do. Wrap it over the bottom center 1, 2, 3 times, and two doubled over single holding bands across your third pegs from the bottom and your second pegs from the bottom. Loop that up, and we're getting actually very close to the end of this project. Under the cap band, grab your top two and bring them to the side closest to you, or the side from which those top bands are coming. Then to the opposite side and loop up straight on each of your rows, columns, whatnot. Release a little of the tension at the bottom, so we don't want to just yank this all off, it won't be pretty. And then your hook pointing down through the bands on the top of each row for this section, turn it around, grab the top two bands on the side, put it on the end of the hook, slide through, and replace. Let's put that holding band back. And give me just 1 second to triple check my picture, my design, make sure that we've got everything, which I think we do. And then we will be ready to complete this. And it looks like we're all set. Okay, so we now are going to go into the fourth peg down on the side, well, either side, you can go in either order. I'm going to start on the side closest to me. Push back all of your top loops, there are about 5 or 6 of them. Grab the bottom two and loop them forward. Loop up again, push back your holding band, or the band with the nose, and loop forward. Push back the band with your eyes, bands with your eyes, loop forward. And we're going to find the bottom two and bring them back into the middle. Opposite side, same deal. And I am very curious actually, if any of you did decide to use a black bead for the nose, send me a picture. I'd love to see what it looks like. I'm on Instagram as well. It's under the same name. Okay, we're going to go down to the 4th peg down in the center and get all 10 of those bands. You can loop them 1 or 2 at a time if you want, but ultimately you want to get them all there. Bring your nose over, reach inside for the bottom 2. I have no idea how I'm going to find those now, but I did it once, I can do it again. Turn the loom to see a little better. That looks like 2 there. Carefully bring it over, push back your holding band and loop up. And we are just about done. Take 1 or 2 dark gray bands, put it on your forefinger and middle finger on your left hand. With your right hand, you're going to point the open part of the hook away from you. Dive your hook through all of the bands on the top center peg. I think we got them. And bring that band through. If you want it to be extra secure, you can pull 2 bands through. Bring it up, and as I'm coming up, I'm turning so that the open part of my hook is facing up. Put the other side on, and take the side furthest from the end of the hook over the other loop and over the top of the hook. You can leave this on your hook, on a C-clip, or on your finger. Just don't let go, because that's what's holding this all together. And from here we can loosen off all the rest of the pieces. Very, very carefully. We have some thick sections here. I believe the very last thing for us to do is just going to be, if you want to put pupils on your eyes, you can do that, well, at any point actually. If your tail or your eyes aren't quite where you want them to be, or your nose for that matter, just pull them through, poke them through, use your hook to adjust. Just gonna press my eyes out here. Here's my nose. And where is that little dark piece? It's hiding inside. Not sure how that got so low down, but you can kind of tug that up and out. This looks a little different than it did on my first one. Oh, there's that nose piece that slipped over to the side. I thought that looked funny. So let's bring the nose piece into where we want it, which is more central. And anytime that you're ready, you can grab a C-clip for the piece on the top that's holding this all together. I feel like I could have wrapped that part a little bit tighter, but okay, I'll fix that for you in 1 second. Let's just put this on a C-clip first so I've got my finger handy. I'll loop that in at the back. Oh, isn't that interesting? Something went funny here. I figured that out for you. Let me just show you again what our finished product should look like, and I'll try and get them both on the thumbnail for you. But there's your little guy. See, that's where the nose should have ended up there. Okay, I'll get that sorted out and pop this onto YouTube as soon as I can, and I thank you for watching. Take care.